Welcome to another trip down the Bourbon Road with your hosts, Jim and Mike. So grab a glass of your favorite bourbon and kick back.
We would like to thank our friends at Premium Bar Products for sponsoring this episode. If you're ready to step up your game at your home bar, check out PremiumBarProducts.com to choose from their wide selection of glassware, all of which can be custom engraved with your personal message or logo. And there's no minimum order. So after the episode, head over to PremiumBarProducts.com and check out everything they have to offer. Now, let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Shannon.
And I'm Mike Hyatt.
And this is the Bourbon Road. And today, Mike, we are sampling a distillery that has been more or less raised from the ashes. Is that not true?
Yeah, Green River Distillery down in Owensboro, Kentucky.
So Green River Distillery, actually better known to many people as the O.Z. Tyler Distillery, was basically brought back from rubble in 2014 and began distilling in 2016 as O.Z. Tyler. Just recently, they have partnered up with a descendant of the original Green River Distilling Company's founder, J.W. McCullough, and are bringing back Green River Bourbon. And we've got a sample today.
So, yeah, they were kind enough to bring it all the way up here to Simpsonville to you, right? And deliver it straight to your door, Jim. That's pretty dang awesome.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, usually it's not a whiskey person coming to your door. Now, we have had that in the past.
So back in the 1800s, I think it was 1885, Mike, when the Green River Distilling Company started?
Yeah. So if people don't really know where the Green River is, it's actually on the Green River down there in Owensboro, Kentucky. Kind of the Green River flows into the Ohio, goes up through the Kentucky. Beautiful country down there. 1885, like you said, Jim J.W. McCullough, he began Green River whiskey down there, and they've been making whiskey for a long time. Now, they'd won a lot of awards back then, and then by that 1918, they had a giant fire that destroyed the entire distillery there. It was kind of a final blow for Prohibition, and they're trying to rebuild it for Prohibition. And then Prohibition comes and they're not done yet. So after Prohibition, it was sold off.
Yeah, I guess the owner didn't live to see Prohibition repealed, so we never saw Green River come back. And I guess the distillery itself, the building and everything, passed hands a number of times. So there's a tremendous amount of history there. The original Green River whiskey was well acclaimed. It won Best in Show at the Paris Exposition. It had won awards in Belgium as well, and was at one time touted as the most expensive whiskey in the world because they had once traded 20 barrels of this whiskey for a Colorado gold mine.
Can you imagine that, trading your entire 20 barrels for an entire gold mine, and how much gold would probably come out of that gold mine back then? Just buttloads of gold.
Well, Mike, let's get to this whiskey and see what it's all about. Now, this is a 3-year, 8-month, 117 proof. It is a pot stilled whiskey. The mash bill on it is 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley. And again, this is actually out of the distillery, the Green River Distillery in Owensboro, Kentucky. DSP KY10.
Yeah, that's definitely a high rye. That mash bill is 70% Kentucky corn, that 21% rye, which I know you're going to love, and then 9% malted barley. That definitely puts it in that high rye category. Should be right up your alley, Jim.
Absolutely. And Jacob calls the master distiller there. And Mike, let's check out and see what Jacob's made for us here.
Let's do it. A little bit of youth on that nose.
A little bit. For 3-year, 8-month, it's more kind of a little bit of a hay or grassy kind of nose to it, I think. But it's got a lot of future behind that nose, I think. I can smell that there's a lot of good things going on there.
Yeah, I can kind of smell that malted barley is starting to work its magic in this mash bill, bringing out some of those sugars. There's a little bit of burnt caramel in there I think I'm getting out of this, but I agree with you, Jim. Kind of that grassy note I usually don't get. Earthiness is what I'm getting. It's just there's a special aroma there. A little bit musty for me, but
sometimes I like musty, I like the, not the corn must, but that warehouse must, that sort of old toolbox smell,
Yeah.
Antique shop. But it's got a rich nose. There's a little bit of caramel there, and the color's nice. At 117 proof, I'm looking forward to tasting it.
Well, let's do it.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. Now, I kind of like that. I'm definitely getting the caramel on the palate as well. Not so much of the sweetness, a little bit drier.
Yeah, it's got that bitter, almost a little bit of, it's not sweet, tardiness to it. Kind of like a green apple. It's not super sweet. It's got that little bit of bite to it on your tongue. I'm starting to feel that Kentucky hug go down, though. That rye is hitting home, Jim.
Yeah, this has got a lot of body to it and texture as well. So obviously at 117 proof, I doubt very much we're dealing with a whiskey that's been filtered. It's very viscous. The legs on the glass kind of stand out. It's what you might call a thick whiskey.
Most of that caramel on that second sip is starting to come out. I always say that kettle corn in these younger whiskeys like this, I'm definitely getting that kettle corn coming out, that beautiful note. Maybe a little bit of peanut with that. Not so much, but just a tad bit.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of nuttiness from it too, Mike. And I was going to say, those little really inexpensive breakfast swirls. They call them pecan swirls. You ever buy those? They're like $1 for a whole box of them.
Heck yeah.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of one of those.
Heck yeah, I do. Every time I go to the grocery store in the morning before I'd go on a hunting trip, I'd get a couple of those and eat them. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. Not a bad whiskey for 3.5 years old. It's got that sweetness on that second. That bitterness kind of went away for me. That heat is there, but it's 117 proof. So what do you expect? I'd rather have it like that than watered down and there's nothing to it. Beautiful expression. I got to say cheers to them. I wasn't expecting that from the nose to the palate. They definitely don't match. 3.5 years old. Now, Jim, do you know what the price on this is going to be?
Well, Mike, we don't really have the price on this yet. This is something that's going to be released in 2021. It has been limited release for tasting purposes to a few outlets like ourselves, so we could get an early look at it. We did get a nice certificate that entitles us to a bottle on release date, so I'm looking forward to that. But I think everybody needs to keep their eyes and their ears open and watch for the Green River release. It's coming in 2021. I would hope that it would be in the spring.
So by then it'll be a 4-year-old, and hopefully they can do a bottled in bond. I think it's a beautiful expression for as young it is. It's not a bad little whiskey and stuff. I'm just hoping they don't outprice themselves or outkick that coverage. I would think somewhere in that $50 range would be a good price on this at a 4-year-old. I wouldn't mind paying that.
Yeah, I like the palate quite a bit more than the nose, but as I revisit the nose now after I've been tasting it, I have to say that I'm starting to find similarities, and that green note or grassy note that I was getting is kind of subdued a little bit now. So it was, I guess, first nose on that whiskey after opening it up, not a whole lot of time to become accustomed to it. But as I sip on it, it's got a great palate for me. I really like that. It's very spicy, got a nice hug to it.
Well, you know what I like out of this, because I got that sweet tooth. I like that, you hit it nail on the head. Those little pecan swirl rolls, the sweetness on this, it gets sweeter as you drink it. Some people not going to like that, but also like it's got that spiciness. So this is something both we could drink. If you're a weeder guy or rye guy, you're looking for this. It's going to be a whiskey for almost everybody, I think. Who knows? We're just two guys talking about whiskey, though. So what do we really know, Jim? Hey, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was really good. We had a great time. We did have some family in. Great smoked turkey this year. Man, did it really turn out.
Now you're on that smoking bug. You got that pellet smoker. You're loving it now. I know that because we smoked a turkey. It turned out great. Me and Vivian had to do ours on actually Friday because we both worked on Thanksgiving Day for 12-hour shifts. But I got to give her a big shout out. She's a nurse. She went to work on the holiday. Plenty of patients, plenty of sick people right now, but without nurses and doctors like her, we wouldn't be here today. So hats off to Vivian. So Jim, besides this Green River, which I would call I'd say it has a medium finish right now. It's not there yet, but I think, like you said, it has a lot of promise, and I think people need to keep their eye open on this thing and not shy away from it.
I would definitely call it a recommend. I would highly suggest that if there's any chance possible that you could end up at that distillery on the release date next year, that you should show up and get yourself a bottle, because I think there's a great story there. I think the marketing that they put together for it and the backstory is really good. They've got a family member involved now, reviving this old and well-respected distillery, and I love to see that. Yeah, the nose for me was a little bit on the youthful side, but 3 years, 8 months, maybe that'll disappear in a couple of months, but the palate was knock your socks off good as far as I'm concerned. This is definitely a sipper for me. I think with the story behind it, and especially getting an early release of a new brand, might even turn out to be a gift bottle.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on all those points. So, we've been talking about our first pick forever now. Forever we've been talking about it. And finally we got our pick, right? And I was the first person to open that bottle up, even though we had tasted it already at the pick. I went up and grabbed a bottle from James at Paradise Spirits and Wine, the liquor store that we partnered with. Picked up a bottle last night. We posted it up on our Roadies group. I actually cracked that bottle open and did a tasting on it. And Jim, you had to wait till today to get a bottle of it. I don't know how we did that. I should have got you a bottle yesterday, but what a special bottle. I'd already put my tasting notes up on our Facebook page and on our Instagram page. But Jim, only to be fair, what's your tasting notes on this bottle? What are the roadies? What are our listeners? What do they need to know about this bottle?
Well, I think your notes were spot on, Mike. I did read them before tasting the bottle. Nobody's going to drink this bottle and not think butterscotch bomb, because I definitely think we've got a butterscotch bourbon here. And not only is it a butterscotch bourbon, I think it's got a little bit of that antique butterscotch flavor to it, which I really, really like. You picked up some chocolate on it. I'm getting those cocoa nibs on the back end. The nose on it matches the palate. I mean, they're one-on-one as far as I'm concerned. And you said it had a medium to long finish. I'm feeling like it's a long finish for me. And it may just be the way it's hitting me, and a little bit of hug. Kind of funny, with that sweet mash, you're not supposed to get all that hug, but I'm definitely getting a hug on this one. But at 120 proof, hey.
Well, I definitely got, as it grew on me and after I wrote my tasting notes, I would say now it's a long finish because I drank a second glass last night of it while we were by the fire. It is a beautiful expression. I think, Jim, I say applause to you. We did our bourbon art on here, the Bourbon Road to Paradise, kind of a homage to James at Paradise Spirits and Wine and Wilderness Trail, and kind of us. There's a little sailing ship in back for two old sailors back there, kind of trapped on an island, and we found some whiskey. You can't get much better than that. So people are going to want to pick this up, right? Because it says road pick number 1. So our next pick is going to be road pick number 2. And heck, maybe one of these days will be road pick 1000.
You know how they say on those infomercials, don't miss out. You'll want to get the whole set.
Yeah. So we're going to have different art every time. We're not going to be those guys that just stick a sticker on there to the same old Bourbon Road sticker every time. It'll always be a different piece of art that me and Jim have come up with, that we collaborated with artists. And I don't think it gets much better than this. We're going to sign every one of these bottles. I don't think we're going to do that for every one of all the picks, but for this bottle, we think it's very special. So me and Jim are going to sign it. We got a release party up at Paradise Spirits and Wine on the 5th of December from 12 to 2. We'll be up there. You can talk with us, grab your bottle. We're going to store these bottles for 1 year. So you can able to get into Kentucky. Everybody needs to come to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. So, and you might as well see us while you're here.
So December the 5th, Saturday, 12 to 2 at Paradise Liquors in Shelbyville, Kentucky. That's about halfway between Frankfort and Louisville on I-64. We're going to do a release there. If you want to get in on this, bottles are still available. They're moving pretty quick though. So you want to get in on it as soon as you can. And if you can't make it to the pick, Mike, we're going to store bottles for people, aren't we?
Yeah, I'll store them up for a year. We'll make arrangements to where you can pick them up from the liquor store. If you're coming into town, just get with me. You can get the bottle off our website or at the Bourbon Roadies Facebook group. Either place, you can get this bottle. But that's the only place you can get. You can't go into the store and buy it right now. So you have to go to the Bourbon Roadies and sign up, or you got to go to our website and you can get it there. Jim's put a nice, pretty link on there that says our picks. Just click on that link right there that Jim set up and it'll take care of you.
All right. So if you got any questions, you can always reach out to Mike or I. We're Jim@thebourbonroad.com, Mike@thebourbonroad.com, or you can reach us as a team at team@thebourbonroad.com. We're always available over social media. We have accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Bourbon Road. But our private Facebook group, Mike, that's where people tend to congregate, isn't it?
Yeah, we're almost at 1,300 members in there. You got to answer 3 questions to get in. Are you 21? Do you like bourbon? Of course, everybody likes bourbon, right? And do you agree to play nice? Because we don't tolerate any rudeness in there, meaning that your bourbon, your way, you want to post up a picture of Jim Beam and say that's the best bourbon in the world, go ahead and post it up. You want to post up a craft distillery and say that's the best bourbon in the world, post it up. Nobody's going to get onto you for that. We want everybody to play along nice. There's sharing a whiskey in there. No selling of whiskey except for buying our bottle pick. Come on now. You want to get this bottle. Great group of people. There are master distillers in there. There's industry folks, chefs, authors, you name it. We have a great group of roadies, our family. We love them. If you have questions like Jim said, ask us. We'll be glad to answer them.
Yeah, and I've seen several questions being posted in social media. How do I get my hands on that bottle? How do I get that bottle? How do I get this Wilderness Trail pick? The answer is always the same, thebourbonroad.com or our Facebook group, The Roadies. And in both those places, you'll find either a link or a pinned comment on how to do that. So, Mike, pretty excited. This one's flying off the shelf already.
Yeah, what I'd tell our listeners, tell roadies, please bear with us. This is our first pick to do. Me and Jim haven't done this before, so there are some lessons learned. There's some things we're learning on the spot, on the move. We're doing our best. Just hang in there with us. We're going to get through this. I promise you. Don't stress out. There's plenty of whiskey. I'll get you some more whiskey if we need it. We want to do a second pick, so we want to sell this thing out. I think it's going to sell out a great price. $66. That's pretty good. And now, Jim, I wanted to compare that to something else. So recently, Booker's pigskin released, right? That Booker's pigskin is going anywhere from $79 to $99. It's around the same proof as this. They're both kind of cast. They're both cast strength, right? But ours is cheaper, and I think it's better.
Yeah, this is a fine barrel. Now, Mike, we've got some good friends over at Wilderness Trail, and they pulled out some pretty special barrels for us to try there during our pick. And I have to say, we did get the pick of the litter, no doubt about it. We got a really good barrel.
Yeah, when we did this, there was 5 of us there. We all put our notes up and stuff. This wasn't my number one, but I tell you what, if I'd have tasted it that day, I guarantee it'd have been that number one. Everybody was like, "Oh, we know which barrel Big Chief's going to pick." they were all spot on what I liked, because I love that butterscotch bomb, that sweetness to it. But this has got something me and Jim both like. It's got the spice. It's got the sweetness. It's got just that long legs on it. I'd say this is one sexy bottle.
Absolutely. Everybody out there wants to get a hold of me on Instagram. I'm JShannon63.
I'm One Big Chief.
And we will see you down
the Bourbon Road.
We do appreciate all of our listeners, and we'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with us here on the Bourbon Road. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and if so, we would appreciate if you'd subscribe and rate us a 5-star with a review on iTunes. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Bourbon Road. That way you'll be kept in the loop on all the Bourbon Road happenings. You can also visit our website at thebourbonroad.com to read our blog, listen to the show, or reach out to us directly. We always welcome comments or suggestions, and if you have an idea for a particular guest or topic, be sure to let us know. And again, thanks for hanging out with us.